The common perception is that entrepreneurs are fearless risk takers, but the reality is more nuanced. It's easy to picture entrepreneurs as daredevils, launching themselves into the unknown with reckless abandon. But let's take a step back and consider this. Are entrepreneurs really risk takers, or are they perhaps calculated risk managers? To answer this, we must first understand what risk truly means. At its core, risk is the possibility of loss or injury. Entrepreneurs, by the nature of their work, are consistently faced with potential losses or injuries, be it financial, reputational, or even personal. But it's not the presence of these potential losses that defines an entrepreneur. Rather, it's how they manage these risks. Entrepreneurs, successful ones at least, are not simply risk takers. They are risk assessors and risk mitigators. They analyze the potential pitfalls and rewards of their ventures, and they take steps to minimize the former while maximizing the latter. And importantly, they set a failure threshold. A failure threshold is a predetermined limit that, once reached, signals that it's time to reassess the venture. For example, an entrepreneur might decide that they're willing to invest 1 year and $5,000 into their startup. If, after that year, they've spent their $5,000 but haven't made any significant progress, they've hit their failure threshold. It's time to reassess. Setting this threshold is crucial because it helps entrepreneurs avoid the sunk cost fallacy, the tendency to continue investing in a losing proposition because of what's already been invested. By setting a failure threshold, entrepreneurs can make objective decisions about when it's time to pivot or even abandon a venture. So are entrepreneurs risk takers? Yes, but they are also much more. They are risk assessors, risk mitigators, and risk managers. They understand that risk is an inherent part of entrepreneurship, but they don't simply accept it. They manage it. This helps reduce the sunk cost fallacy tendency and ensures you're prepared for the uncertainties ahead. Now, let's delve into the core concepts of risk management. Risk, in its simplest form, is the potential for loss. But to truly grasp the idea of risk, we must first understand the concepts of threats and vulnerabilities. A threat is anything that can potentially cause harm. In the business world, threats can take many forms, from competitors launching similar products to economic downturns and even natural disasters. However, it's important to remember that threats in and of themselves aren't inherently harmful. It's our inability to prevent or mitigate those threats that can lead to loss. That's where vulnerabilities come in. Vulnerability is our susceptibility to the effects of a threat. It's the weak spot in our armor, the chink in our chain, the open window in our fortress. If we have no vulnerabilities, then even the most formidable threats are rendered irrelevant. But if we're vulnerable, even minor threats can wreak havoc. So we've got threats on one side and vulnerabilities on the other. But how do they interact? It's simple. Threat multiplied by vulnerability equals risk. This is a fundamental equation in risk assessment. Let's break it down. Imagine you're an entrepreneur with a groundbreaking product. A threat might be a competitor developing a similar product. Your vulnerability could be your lack of patent protection. The risk then is the potential for your competitor to beat you to market, causing you to lose sales and ultimately profit. But what if you had secured a patent for your product? The threat of competition remains, but your vulnerability is significantly reduced, leading to a lower overall risk. The beauty of this equation is that it highlights the two key areas where we can manage and mitigate risk by reducing threats and decreasing vulnerabilities. You might be thinking, that's all well and good, but how does it help me as an entrepreneur? Well, understanding this equation and its underlying concepts gives you a clear framework for assessing and managing risks. When faced with a potential risk, ask yourself, what's the threat and where am I vulnerable? By identifying these factors, you can develop strategies to counteract threats and shore up vulnerabilities, thereby reducing your overall risk. Perhaps you need to invest in patent protection, diversify your product range to spread the risk, or build strong relationships with key suppliers to reduce the threat of supply chain disruptions. The specific strategies will vary based on your unique circumstances, but the underlying principles remain the same. In essence, effective risk management is all about understanding the landscape of threats and vulnerabilities and developing strategies to navigate that landscape with as little loss as possible. As entrepreneurs, we can't eliminate risk entirely. But by understanding the equation of threat X vulnerability equals sign risk, we can make informed decisions, plan for contingencies, and ultimately manage risks effectively. Understanding this equation helps entrepreneurs assess and manage risks effectively. Murphy's Law. What can go wrong will go wrong. This age-old adage might seem pessimistic, but it serves as a useful reminder for entrepreneurs. In the entrepreneurial landscape, Murphy's Law underscores the importance of anticipating potential problems and preparing for them. You see, entrepreneurship is an inherently risky endeavor. The path of creating and building something new is filled with unknowns. But here's the thing, it's not just about taking risks, it's about understanding them, managing them, and turning them into opportunities. Sounds challenging? Absolutely, but also incredibly rewarding. Now let's talk about the risk-return relationship. It's a fundamental concept in finance, but it also applies to entrepreneurship. Simply put, the risk-return relationship states that the potential return on an investment increases with the level of risk associated with it. The higher the risk, the higher the possible return. But it's not just about jumping into high-risk scenarios hoping for high returns. Smart entrepreneurs don't just take risks, they take calculated risks. That's where the assessment of risk comes in. When assessing risks, consider two key factors: probability and consequences. The probability refers to the likelihood of a risk event occurring, while consequences pertain to the impact it would have on your business. Imagine you're launching a revolutionary new product. There's a risk that the market might not accept it. The probability might be high, but the potential reward if it succeeds could be massive. On the other hand, there's also a risk that a meteor might crash into your office. The consequences would be catastrophic, sure, but the probability is incredibly low. Now, it's important to understand that not all risks are created equal. Some risks are minor, more like nuisances. They might cause some disruption, but they won't derail your venture. Others are major, with the potential to cause serious damage. These are the ones you'll want to pay particular attention to. And then, there are insurable risks. These are risks that you can transfer to an insurance company by paying a premium. Things like fire, theft, or liability claims. By insuring against these risks, you can protect your venture from potential financial losses. So, what's the takeaway? Murphy's Law isn't a doom and gloom prophecy. Instead, it's a call to action for entrepreneurs to be proactive in managing risks. It's about understanding the nature of risks, their probability and consequences, and making informed decisions based on that understanding. By doing this, you're not just blindly stepping into the unknown, you're arming yourself with knowledge and strategy. You're ready to face whatever comes your way, turning obstacles into stepping stones towards your entrepreneurial success. Remember, it's not about avoiding risks, it's about understanding and managing them. By understanding the nature of risks, entrepreneurs can make informed decisions and navigate uncertainty with confidence. Now, let's tackle the company killers for startups. These are the risks that, if not properly managed, can bring an entrepreneurial dream crashing down. The first is product risk. This involves your product not meeting market expectations or failing to deliver on its promise. To mitigate this risk, entrepreneurs need to invest in market research, product testing, and customer feedback. Next up is market risk. This is the danger of your target market not being ready or big enough for your product or service. To mitigate market risk, it's essential to conduct thorough market analysis and customer segmentation. It's also wise to have a strong, adaptable marketing strategy in place. Then, we have financial risk. Startups often face challenges with cash flow, funding, and financial management. Mitigating financial risk involves careful budgeting, seeking diverse funding sources, and perhaps most importantly, maintaining a lean business model, especially in the early stages of your venture. Lastly, there's organizational risk. This includes risks related to your team, culture, and internal processes. To manage this risk, it's crucial to invest in hiring the right people, fostering a positive culture, and implementing efficient systems and processes. But it's not all doom and gloom. With every risk comes an opportunity. Understanding these risks allows us to plan and prepare for potential hurdles. By identifying and mitigating these company killers, entrepreneurs can create a resilient business that withstands challenges and thrives in the face of adversity. Risk management is an ongoing process. It involves continuously identifying, assessing, and addressing risks. This can be achieved through a combination of insurable risks, strategic planning, and risk management tools. It's about being proactive, not reactive. It's about turning risks into opportunities. So don't be deterred by the potential pitfalls. Instead, equip yourself with the knowledge and strategies to navigate them. From insurable risks to strategic planning, there are countless ways to mitigate risks and ensure the long-term success of your venture. As we conclude this exploration of risk management, remember that embracing risks is an inherent part of the entrepreneurial journey. We've peeled back the layers, revealing that entrepreneurs are not just risk takers, but calculated risk managers. We've navigated through the concepts of threats, vulnerabilities, and risks, and discovered the crucial equation that's at the heart of risk assessment. We've acknowledged Murphy's Law, understanding the direct relationship between risk and reward. We've identified the main company killers and explored methods to mitigate these risks. It's clear that the path of entrepreneurship is filled with uncertainties, but with sound strategies and a deep understanding of risk management, we can face these challenges head-on. Join us in the upcoming modules as we delve deeper into resilience, innovation, and the keys to thriving in the face of adversity. This is signing off. Until next time, stay resilient, stay innovative, and keep chasing your dreams.